G'day guys, and welcome back to 4WD 360. Now most people think I upgraded from the 23 tank 300 to the 25 because I wanted a newer model. No, that's a polite version. The real version, the old one, introduced itself to a freeway barrier at high speed and lost the argument. And honestly, looking back now, that build was probably less balanced than I realised. It looked tough, it sounded tough, it probably identified as tough. But mechanically, yeah, we need to talk about that. Four-wheel drive 360, turn it up, let's go. Look, welcome back to 4-Wheel Drive 360. Now, this episode isn't just about mods, it's about how quickly a modern 4-wheel drive can go from touring weapon to a shopping trolley with commitment issues. If you start modifying parts without thinking about how the whole system works together, and trust me, I've done enough dumb things to learn a few lessons. I've built heaps of vehicles over the years. I've spent years off-road. I understand every modification is a compromise, but what surprised me with this platform was how fast those compromises stacked up once tyre size, weight, suspension, and vehicle dynamics all started drifting out of sync. And that's what this episode is really about. Not blaming the car, not blaming the brands, not blaming the tyres, not blaming suspension. This is about understanding that once you modify a modern vehicle, you're no longer driving what the factory engineered. You're driving your engineering. And sometimes your engineering is held together with zip ties, YouTube confidence, and Afterpay. The accident happened driving home from Melbourne. Wet freeway, nothing dramatic, no hardcore wheeling, no watch this boys moment, just normal driving. Then conditions changed quickly. I still remember the exact moment the vehicle became unsettled. The rear stepped slightly, I corrected, the tyres bit again, and then the whole vehicle snapped back way more aggressively than I expected. Suddenly I'm clipping barriers, bouncing around like a pinball machine, and having a very expensive conversation with physics. And afterwards, like every car guy does, I replayed the whole thing in my head about 900 times. Because I don't think there was one thing that caused it. I think it was a huge amount of things. The vehicle had bigger tyres, heavier wheels, more sidewall flex, more frontal weight, more unsprung mass, and suspension that simply wasn't proportionally rebalanced for all of it. And modern vehicles really care about balance. That's the thing people forget. Modern stability control, ABS, steering calibration, traction systems, they're all designed around a very specific operating window. And once you start moving far outside that window, things change. Sometimes subtly, sometimes very suddenly. One of the biggest changes was tyre size, and every 4-wheel driver knows this. Tyres completely transform your vehicle, not just visually, but dynamically. Bigger tyres increase rotational mass, braking load, steering delays, sidewall movement, and drivetrain leverage. Individually, none of those feel huge. Together, you suddenly realise your precision-engineered touring vehicle now corners like a Labrador on minor floors. And here's the important bit. Off-road capability and on-road predictability are not always the same thing. And you can build something incredible off-road, and which my car was, that becomes progressively worse in emergency situations on-road, which my car was. And I think a lot of people underestimate that. Now, to be fair, the 2023 build, a lot of the mods did work. The vehicle looked awesome, it handled tracks well, it got attention everywhere, and honestly, I still think it looked tough. But looking back now, I describe it as appearance biased and under controlled. Basically, it looked like it bench pressed trucks, but dynamically it occasionally needed emotional support. The original hoopless bar did its job, especially for the money, which was around $1,200. But compared to the newer setup, the difference is obvious. The old bar felt attached to the vehicle. The new hammer setup feels engineered into the vehicle. And honestly, that's kind of the whole theme of this rebuild. Integration, balance, control. Not just bolting shiny stuff on until your bank account starts crying, which mine did. And this is where suspension becomes everything. The factory suspension simply wasn't happy carrying larger tyres, extra weight, older geometry, and increased dynamic load transfer. Most of the time, totally fine, but once rapid weight transfer started happening, you could feel the vehicle becoming less composed. And that's the scary part, because bad setups don't always feel bad until suddenly they really do. Now, one thing I did actually get right, and that was my insurance with AMI, AAMI. And seriously, if you own a modified four-wheel drive, you should listen to this. Every modification was declared. Every invoice I saved, every receipt was documented, because when the accident happened, the insurer assessed the build, not just the base vehicle. And honestly, that paperwork is one of the biggest reasons I'm sitting here talking about the 25 model today instead of crying into Marketplace and buying an older rig. Now, this time around, I completely changed the build order. And honestly, I think this is one of the biggest mistakes people make building modern four-wheel drives. Most people go suspension first, wheels and tyres, then 6 months later they add bull bars and winches, roof racks, drawers, tow bars, fridges, recovery gear, camping gear, possibly a kitchen sink, and suddenly the suspension is carrying 300 kilos more than it was tuned for. Then everyone wonders why the vehicle rides like a forklift. This time I did it properly. First came the wheels and tyres, then the bull bar, winch, tow bar, drawers, all the weight, everything. Then I did the suspension, because suspension should be tuned around the final operating weight of the vehicle, not the imaginary version you tell yourself you'll keep lightweight. And for the first time, the suspension wasn't compensating for future mods. It was tuned for the vehicle exactly as it actually sits. And the difference, massive. So when I rebuilt the vehicle, I approached everything differently. Not from an appearance perspective, from a systems perspective. And honestly, the 25 platform already feels like a better foundation for modifications, as it's got improved braking, stronger front end components, better payload, towing upgrades, revised wheel bearings. It genuinely feels like the engineers expected Australians to immediately throw 400 kilos of accessories at it. Which, fair enough, because that's exactly what we do. So the Hammer Atlas Hoopless Bar completely changed the front end feel. Everything feels tighter, more refined, more intentional. Now I want to talk about the winch that I bought. I purchased a Drivetech 4x4 winch from Repco. Now these winches are special because they have a dual speed, and that thing is properly impressive. This isn't marketing fluff. When you're recovering heavier vehicles under load, you genuinely notice the lower speed control. It feels less like, hold on, and more like controlled recovery, which is generally preferable. But now we get to the biggest difference in the entire build, the suspension. This changed everything. The old setup looked modified. This setup feels resolved, and there's a huge difference between those two things. The vehicle now settles faster, brakes flatter, tracks straighter, and transitions far calmer at speed. And honestly, at freeway speeds in bad weather, that matters more than flex photos on Instagram. The forged aluminium upper control arms corrected the geometry properly. Caster came back, steering feel improved massively, the vehicle now self-centers properly, tracks predictably, and actually feels planted under load. And the confidence difference compared to the old build, night and day. I still love modifying four-wheel drives. I still believe in building capable touring vehicles, but the whole experience reinforced something important for me. Capability isn't just about what a vehicle can crawl over at 3 kilometers an hour. It's also about how stable and predictable it remains when something unexpected happens at 110 kilometers in the rain. And honestly, I think that's a conversation the four-wheel drive industry probably needs to have more often. Because social media loves showing flex shots, but nobody talks about emergency lane changes in bad weather, and that stuff matters a lot. The old build taught me about capability, the new build taught me about balance, and balance is what finally gave me confidence in this platform again. Look, thanks for watching, legends. If you enjoy honest four-wheel drive builds, real-world lessons, touring content, and occasionally watching me financially ruin myself for entertainment, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Whether you own a Tank 300, a Petrol, a Ranger, or a 97 Pajero held together with cable ties and optimism, this channel is for everyone who loves getting outdoors. I'm pushing hard toward 1,000 subscribers right now so I can start monetizing the channel and pour everything back into bigger builds, tougher tracks, and better content. So if you've enjoyed the journey so far, you supporting the channel genuinely means a lot. And before you go, I want to know, what mods have you done, or what's next on your build? Drop it in the comments below. Also, make sure you follow the 4Wheel Drive 360 Facebook page for build updates, behind the scenes content, and extra chaos between videos. I'm Wayne from 4Wheel Drive 360. Stay safe, stay muddy, and I'll catch you out on the tracks. Cheers. 4-wheel drive.